And good afternoon to you. Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley with you on this Tuesday afternoon. And what an afternoon it's been. A very unusual day across our area. Unusual not just in the sense that it was warm this afternoon, but unusual for the fact that we were so cold this morning and so warm this afternoon. That combination is not something we see all that often. And we're going to try and spell it out for you here over the next little bit. Thanks for being with us. We call it Live Weather Impact. We do it every single day, so let's get to it. Across the state right now, we're looking at temperatures that are in the 60s at the moment, as they have been most of the day today. You know, we warmed up really nicely, and we're still there, still holding on to some of that warmth as we go into this evening time frame. 64 in Winston-Salem, 62 in Greensboro. But yeah, the crazy thing about today was twofold. So we talk about the morning and the afternoon. Let's just take this full and kind of soak this in for a second. So if you look at the morning, we were at 24 degrees. Below average, about 8 degrees below average. And then for the afternoon, 69 for the high. So that's a 45 degree temperature swing. It's just not done. That's just not something that's done around here, and really impressive to see. That's the second biggest jump on a single calendar day in Triad history. So pretty amazing to be doing something like that. That's only been done one other time. And in fact, you can kind of find your own towns on the map here, and we can kind of take a look here. One thing that stood out to me was Burlington. Notice they were at about 21 degrees earlier this morning. Toward the afternoon, they warmed up to 71. So that's a 50 degree swing. Sanford did about the same as that. Just really impressive stuff for our area. And again, not something you see all that often. And to think about the rate at which these temperatures were increasing, you go from 31 at 8 in the morning, 47 by 10 a.m., 61 by noon, and then just off from there. So very impressive type of a weather day, one that you might remember for a long time. And considering the fact that it's been so cold for so long, we haven't even hit 50 degrees in about 17 days. And then we just hit basically 70. So very dramatic to say the least, and something that may not happen again for a little while. Temperatures, of course, across the eastern half of the country, very warm. This warmth was expected. We were expecting to be well into the 60s today, even a little warmer than I was expecting, though, for this afternoon. Temperatures in the 70s across most of the south. So you think, well, maybe we get to keep this around for a couple of days. Not super long. We do have some cooler pushes of air on the way for the next few afternoons. So what we have right now is not going to last forever, but we're also not going back to the deep freeze like we just came out of. That's not really coming back either. So a little bit more of a middle ground. Let me show you what I'm seeing. As far as the weather pattern goes, there is a little bit of a front sliding our way for tonight and tomorrow morning. That brings a brief chance of a few rain showers. Very brief. We'll detail that timing in a little bit as well. Windier weather, that comes in tomorrow afternoon, and with that, the opportunity to get a little bit cooler. So it'll be still in the upper 50s to low 60s for tomorrow. But behind that, once we get into Thursday and Friday, that's when we're settling into a bit of a cooler weather pattern. But again, not the deep freeze like we were just in. It'll be more typical, more seasonal. And this time of year, that means low 30s for the morning, low 50s for the afternoon. And I think we'll do that Thursday into Friday. Then we'll have a rain system to track heading into the weekend. Let's talk about the timing of that possible rain overnight tonight. So you see here, clouds thicken up a little bit after midnight. And those clouds will keep us in the 50s. We're actually staying very warm all night long. Here's early tomorrow morning, right around 6 o'clock to start the day. Those are a couple sprinkles, maybe a rain shower or two. We'll stay fairly cloudy through about midday. Once you get past noon, that's when the sun comes back out and we have an opportunity to get a little warmer to around 60. For the rest of the week, as I said, that's when we are going to stay pretty average and pretty dry. But there is rain on the way. This is for the weekend. Rain potential, not so much for Saturday daytime. This is around afternoon right here, about 2 o'clock or so. Once you get toward evening, those evening plans could start to have some rain potential for us. So let's watch Saturday evening and then into Sunday. So take a look beyond that. Going into the day on Sunday, there could be some rainfall that gets a little heavy at times. And this is something that's going to stick around for a while. So it's not just a quick hit of rain, it's more or less kind of a soaker. And mostly for Sunday is the timing on this. Now, rain potential could be on the order of about an inch or so. That would be pretty significant for us because consider just how dry we've been. I know it doesn't seem like it with the snowstorms and the ice storms. Those didn't have a lot of water overall, about an inch of water when you combine both of them. So we do still need some rainfall. I do think Friday and Saturday are looking mostly dry if you have Valentine's plans, but by Saturday evening, plan to have the rain gear with you. And it is looking like wet weather, not wintry weather. There was a time where it looked like it might be a close call with snow or with ice. Probably not the case for us, but it would be a good amount of rain for our area, likely on the order of about 3/4 of an inch of rain to maybe around 1 inch of rain. And that would be beneficial. That's something we would like to see if we can swing it. Now, over the next week or so, overall, temperatures will be above average. And if you go even beyond that, in that 8 to 14 day temperature window, I think it's the same. So basically, the rest of February has a better chance to be above average than it does being below average. So just kind of keep those things in mind as we go forward in time. We're not likely to go back into that deep freeze again. Let's take a look at the 7-day forecast. Over the next little bit, we'll be right around 60 for tomorrow. We'll be a little cooler than that for Thursday into Friday. And then going into that upcoming weekend, whatever you might have planned, it looks to be pretty dry on Saturday until the evening. And then on Sunday, that's when things get chillier and wetter as well. Beyond that, next week has the opportunity for a big warm-up. Mid-60s are possible, even upper 60s by the middle of next week. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.